Hey everybody, it is Rolly, and I am jumping on for the second time today. Actually, technically it's the third time because I was actually on live on my personal page today as well. But I'm jumping on tonight to be able to do day 6 of the Share Your Heart, Share Your Work challenge of with the daily Facebook prompts. And so today is day 6. Even though I was on this morning, I did day 5 from yesterday because I wasn't feeling well. And so today is day 6. And so Allison's prompt for today is along the lines of ego versus divine, and your divine self. And so where do I operate with that? How do I am I able to connect with that? And for the most part, I try and stay connected. And that's probably been in the last 9 months, 9 months or so that I've really been very much connecting to no, we're in October, so probably about 10, 11 months. So that I've really tuned into my divine self, who I am, and who I am truly, and what feels right, and really, really working with the what feels right. So if it doesn't feel right, then I don't want to be doing it. And so I have always had my intuition that I've connected with, and then I justify whether or not I should make that decision. Then my ego brain starts going, and or my critter brain, as I call it, or one of the ladies in my program calls it her monkey brain. And so when I'm actually able to connect with my own divine self, I'm able to connect with who I am, and one of the things that I really struggled with is about the whole divine self and who that was, and being able to connect with my spirituality and knowing what was and what wasn't. So grew up Catholic, not so much in our home, because Mom and Dad didn't do the church thing, but we went to Catholic school, and then I baptized my children Catholic and sent them to a Catholic school, and not dissing anything in terms of religions, because that is not, and that is not what I mean by that, is, however, one of the things that frustrates me is that people that are connected to the religion are very much it needs to be this way, and again, growing up in the Catholic realms of everything is about guilt, right? So you don't do exactly what it is, and God's going to condemn you, and that kind of thing. And those are things that don't sit well with me, because God is about love and connection, and so that higher power, that higher self. And so when I connect with the divine, then I'm connecting with my own higher self. So in different religions, different things, different passages are about being, you're made in God's image. So if you're made in God's image, then why is he condemning you? Like, because you've made a mistake, or that you've learned something, or that kind of thing. So those kinds of things didn't sit well with me, and I really struggled with that. And so those are parts of where I would keep my spirituality hidden. I didn't share that I was connecting with my Métis heritage, and because those are ways that I felt connected. So doing the smudging is something that feels good to me, as well as, so if I go to a funeral, I happen to go to church, and I go for communion, I get the same out of smudging as I do out of getting communion, because those are part of who it is that I am. And until the last 11 10, 11 months, I wouldn't share that with people. It was like, oh no, I'm going to keep that private. I'm going to keep that secret. I'm going to keep all these things about me that I'm not going to make those present. So if I've got my little group, then I'll share a little bit in my little group, but not going to make it public because I don't want to rock the boat with people who are religious, who very much are connected to the church. And again, I'm not condemning anybody who is connected to the church. It's just that there's those right and wrongs, right? So, and the way that I look at things and the way that I view things is that it's not right or wrong. It's what's in alignment with you. Is that what works for you? Is that what feels good? And I really use a lot of the feelings. So like, is it hitting you in the gut? And if it's hitting you in the gut, then it's obviously aligned. So, or if it's like way off, then it's not aligned, and that's not something that you should be doing. And so one of the things is that that's something that, even before I did make that, before I went public with that, is that I would also say to my clients, if it doesn't fit for you, then let's find a different way of being able to do it. So I had a client who, for example, we were talking and she's like, oh, I have so much trouble meditating and blah, 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 and going on about all the things that she was not able to do when it came to meditating. And so we talked as we continued to talk and we explored more. And one of the things that she said is, well, one of the things that I can do is I can actually lay down in the grass and just stare at the sea, at the sky. And I can do that for hours. And it's like, that's meditating. So just because you're not sitting with your legs crossed in with your mudras, like, it doesn't mean that you're not meditating. And so going for mindfulness walks, being able to do moving meditation, like, it all is meditating, and there's no right way and there's no wrong way. And that is why there's so many ways of being able to meditate. And so being able to find the way that works for you, and that is the approach that I take with my clients, is let's figure out how it can work for you. How does it work for you? Because if it doesn't work for you, then it's not going to be, if it's not aligned with you, then it's not going to work for you. And if it doesn't work for you, then you're not moving through it, right? So, and one of the things is that I grew up is like, you do everything that you're supposed to do. And I think I mentioned that this morning in my live this morning, is that you do everything that you're supposed to do, and you follow all the rules, and you don't break the rules. And if you break the rules, then you're filled with guilt. And so, being able to connect with how is it that works for me? Like, obviously you want to make sure that there's things around safety, right? So if it's not safe, then that's a different story, right? So speeding, that's not safe. So yeah, if you're speeding, you're breaking the rules, but it's also not safe. As I say, as I do, I should say. And so, but it's just really important that you're not going to be doing things that are not safe, but that you're doing things that are aligned, and not necessarily having to follow every single rule. And I'm still working on that. I am still working on not following exactly all of those rules, because it is not, it's not exact, right? So, and I have a really hard time with that. I am very much type A, very much OCD traits, and I really need things to be able to flow in a certain manner. And so one of the things that I've learned to do is and where I've really connected with that is in our Inner Goddess Circle. And so when I am facilitating our Inner Goddess Circle, yes, I have an outline, and yes, I have an idea of what it is that we're doing, and I have a theme, and we have an idea of what's happening, but I go with the energy of the group, and based on what it is that the group, that I feel that the group needs, and I'm using my intuition at that point. And so if this is the direction that we need to go in, and we need to stay a little bit more on this part, or we need to do a little bit more on that part. And so that is, so I would say that I use a lot more of my divine self than I used to. And because I trust it more. And so I trust that this is what I'm sensing, this is what I'm feeling. Sometimes it may not necessarily be that. but most of the time it is. So, for example, I did during one of our inner goddess circles, is I just had the sense that I needed to do call in some Reiki energy during our session. And so while everyone else was doing their meditation, I actually went through and I called in Reiki to each person. And so the one person we talked about was, there's something going on with your shoulder. And I've had something going on with my shoulder since I was injured last July. And so she's like, no, you must be picking up on your own thing, because that's not, that's your thing. And there was another incident that happened with the same person. And I had brought up that, like, there's something going on with the shoulder. And it's like, nope, that's definitely not me. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe, like, but I'm really sensing very strongly that this is about this person. It's not about me. Yes, I have my shoulder, but it's not the same. It's not the same. And so it's like, nope, my intuition is still telling me, but it was still kind of like giving me, so then my ego brain kicks in going like, well, obviously you're wrong, and going on and on and on about like, well, no, that's not true. And it's like, but I've been able to learn to be able to connect with my own inner self that said, nope, definitely not mine. And so then a couple weeks later, then that same conversation came back up again about some of the things that was actually going on for them. And when they were actually talking about what was going on for them, it was about being able to carry somebody else's burdens. And so when you actually go with the connection with Louise Hay, and she's somebody that I followed for a long time. And so one of the things that when you actually look at the shoulder means carrying other burdens. And I think it's the right shoulder that it was, I can't remember, but whichever shoulder that it had to do with male or female, like, because one side's male, one side's female. And so it was definitely carrying the burdens of males. And so it was like, oh, that's what's going on. It's like, but being able to carry the burdens of somebody else and being able to lift that. And so feeling much better when she was able to stop focusing on everybody else's things and redirecting back to herself. And I was like, okay, so just being able to remember to connect with your own self, being able to connect with your own, so like I said, ego versus divine self. And I'm not going to say that I don't go into ego, because I do. And so I am 48, and this is only the 1 year that I've actually been really connecting with that. So just really, really important for us to be able to remember that it is definitely ego versus self. And so I am not sure whether or not anybody has commented for whatever reason. I know that the last time that I came on live, it was good, and I had comments and people coming on, but I have no idea. So if you have commented, I will definitely come back and connect back with you. And if you haven't, then and you're catching the replay, then #replay. I'd love to be able to hear your views on some of this. So I will talk to you all later, and so I will definitely be on at some point tomorrow. Not sure what the prompt is going to be tomorrow, and so definitely hop on at some point tomorrow. I am traveling tomorrow for a medical appointment with my dad, but at some point for sure, either before or after, then I will connect, only because sometimes because I was in a lot of places this month, and so my data sometimes is okay and sometimes isn't, but it should be updating sometime in the next month, or in the next couple days, I think, is my my renewal is coming up. So anyway, I will talk to you all later, and bye for now.